Now that all the prerequisites for Direct Access have been configured, I can move on to installing the Direct Access Management Console and configuring Direct Access. To implement Direct Access, you need to, first, install the Direct Access Management Console feature, secondly, run the Direct Access Setup Wizard, and thirdly, update the IPv6 configuration and refresh group policy for the Direct Access clients. In this demonstration, I will be using the Direct Access Setup Wizard to configure Direct Access. You can also configure the Direct Access settings manually, but using the wizard is much easier. To show you what was configured by using the wizard, I will review some of the changes that were made by the Direct Access Setup Wizard. The first step in configuring the Direct Access server is to install the Direct Access Management Console. The installation of this server feature is straightforward with no configuration options available during the installation. Notice that the Group Policy Management Console is also installed to enable the modification of group policy objects. After installing the Direct Access Management Console, you can run the Direct Access Setup Wizard. This wizard enables you to select how the Direct Access environment will be configured, and then the wizard will apply the changes to your environment. The Direct Access Setup Wizard includes the following steps. Step 1. Configure the remote clients. In this step, you configure the ADDS groups that contain the computer accounts for Direct Access clients. Step 2. Configure the Direct Access server. In this step, you will configure the network adapters on the Direct Access server and configure the certificates for the server. Notice that the Direct Access Wizard automatically detects the network adapter connected to the Internet as well as the network adapter connected to CorpNet. In this case, I need to select a certificate that is at the top of the trust path for all certificates that will be trusted for remote clients. I also need to select the certificate that will be used for HTTPS connections to the Direct Access server. Step 3. Configure the infrastructure servers. During this step, you are configuring which servers are accessible or not accessible to Direct Access clients when the client has established the initial infrastructure tunnel to the Direct Access server. In this step, you will configure the URL for the network location server. This information is required to ensure that an exemption for the network location server is configured in the NRPT so that Direct Access clients will not be able to access the network location server over the Direct Access connection. During this step, you can also manually configure additional DNS suffixes for any internal domains and add the IP addresses for the internal DNS servers. You can also configure how the client will resolve DNS names that are not listed in DNS. Finally, during this step, you can configure the IPv6 addresses for internal servers that will be used to manage the Direct Access clients. Notice the IPv6 address assigned to the contoso.com domain. This IPv6 address is assigned to NYC-DC1 and is composed of a 6-to-4 network prefix and the ISATAP-based interface identifier. In this case, we're not adding any additional management servers to the wizard. Step 4. In this step, you're configuring the application servers. During this step, you'll configure how the client will access the internal network servers. The default configuration is to not require any additional authentication. With this option, the direct access server will terminate the IPsec tunnels, and the client will be able to connect to any IPv6 resources on the intranet. You can modify the setting to restrict which servers the client can access by configuring additional authentication for intranet servers. In this case, we will accept the default configuration. After completing the wizard, we can save the configuration and then finish the wizard. The wizard then presents a summary of the configuration changes you have made. When you click Apply, the changes will be configured to the direct access server and to group policy. After running the setup wizard, the direct access environment will be configured. However, to enforce the immediate application of the network and group policy changes, I will refresh the IP configuration and force the group policy application for the computers used in the demonstration. One of the changes made by the direct access setup wizard is to configure the direct access server as an ISATAP router for routing IPv6 traffic across an IPv4 network. By restarting the IP helper service on the domain controller and the application servers, I can verify that they are configured as ISATAP hosts. For the direct access client, I need to restart the IP helper service as well as force the application of group policy settings for direct access clients. Notice that the server has been issued an ISATAP address for routing IPv6 traffic over an IPv4 network. Just to make sure that the ISATAP configuration has been applied correctly, I will check if the NYC CL1 client can access the intranet servers by using the ISATAP-based IPv6 addresses. I will try to ping the IPv6 address for NYC SVR1. We'll also try to ping the server by computer name. You have seen one of the results of running the Direct Access Setup Wizard. The Direct Access server is configured as an ISATAP router and the internal computers are configured as ISOTAP hosts. The Direct Access Setup Wizard also created two GPOs in Active Directory. The first of the GPOs is applied to the Direct Access clients. This GPO configures Windows Firewall with advanced security settings and also configures the name resolution policy table. The other GPO is applied to the Direct Access server. This policy also configures Windows Firewall with advanced security for the Direct Access server.